my name is on here. So that's what creates some of the make it real personal. My father, my biological father, he passed away when I was 8 years old.
So sorry.
So I think this kind of built the connection from me to my son when he have children, like something that just stay connected, something physical.
Hi, thank you for joining yet another episode of Get Set with Lissette. This is where we have inspiring conversations that empower you to get set. And I'm a broken record and I say it all the time, but this is going to be another one of those episodes. However, before I get started, I wanted to just give a quick recap because I made a promise that when I started this venture, that a big part of it was going to be that we had vulnerable conversations. So I wanted to just take a minute and be vulnerable with all of you. When I started this platform, I started it because I wanted to create opportunities so that people could learn from one another, that people that inspired me would have a place and a platform to discuss the ventures that they've taken, the strides that they had, and that you would be inspired to want to reach out and accomplish more. Look towards other individuals and see if they can do what I can as well. But in that same vein, at times we can get in our own heads and we can have some of that negative talk. We can question whether or not this is a venture we should really be focused on. We can think things are supposed to look one way or the other. And the reality is that when you have something in your heart, sometimes what you have inside doesn't necessarily translate to what occurs on the outside. And it puts you in a position to self-doubt, question. And the reality is that success isn't linear. It doesn't just go in a straight path. And I needed to reset, reground myself. And so this is actually the first time that I'm recording in months. And how amazing is it that the first guest that I'm recording with is actually my first return guest? So it's like a full circle moment here, all in all. So in that same regard, like I said, I just wanted to be vulnerable, let you guys know what's been going on. But we're going to continue to have those inspiring conversations, and we are trucking along. And so in that, I want to take the moment to introduce my guest today, Shakeem Tomlin. How are you?
Doing well, Lissette. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. So for those that don't know, Shakeem is one half of the founders of PS is Natural, which were guests on my podcast from a while ago. PS is Natural with his wife, Donna, right? It is a family brand committed to providing products you can trust for the entire family, which was started in 2020. He is now back to discuss Tomlin Company,
That's right,
which is a premium watch brand rooted in timeless design, refined craftsmanship, and quiet excellence, right?
Yep, you got it right.
All right, making sure. So first off, I have to laugh because I remember when it was you and Donna sitting here, we were talking about the hair products and everything.
Right.
And I had literally asked, like, what's next? What's coming up? And one of the things I remember you specifically saying was that you wanted to be a family brand where everyone knew your names and that there was something for everyone.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And now here you are, and you're discussing yet another branch, another opportunity, a whole new brand. And these are high-end watches.
Yes, correct.
So you guys, you literally are staying true to what you said, huh?
I try to be.
You try to be, huh? So, all right. So we're going to talk about where this came from, how it got started. But as you know, I always try to do like a little of a icebreaker. Now, I couldn't do the same one because, again, this is my first time having return. So this time we're going to do a little love it or hate it, okay? So I thought about like 4 things that, people tend to have a pretty strong opinion on. So we'll see. Ready? And you just love it or hate it. Pineapple on pizza.
Hate it.
Hate it.
Hate it.
Okay. I didn't even think twice, right? It's not a thing.
Nah.
All right. Reality TV shows.
Hate it.
Hate it. Okay.
Hate it. Hate it.
He said, I'm not going with it. All right. What about those ASMR videos?
I'm gonna go with hate that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not for it?
Yeah, nah, I can't do it.
We're going to pray that this last one is a love it. We're going to wait and see podcast.
Love it.
Okay.
Or podcast.
I had to throw something out there. Normally, I always say like YouTube or the audio, but for this one, I'm like, well, how do we feel about the podcast world? So
podcast world, I love the podcast world.
Okay. So you in it? You ready to go?
Ready.
All right. So as always, before we get started, I try my best to like qualify what we're doing. Now, I remember again, since you're my first return guest, the beauty industry in general, there wasn't a lot going on when it came to like people of color, African Americans specifically in that world. The numbers were staggering. However, when I started to look into like high-end watches or like craftsmanship or like people of color, African Americans specifically, when it came to the world of like watches, that was even crazier to me. So one of the things that I wanted to say was, as always, I use ChatGPT, any of those like AI to kind of start the conversation for myself and get me an idea of like what's out there so that I can pull some stats and then I go deeper into what those stats are. However, when I did that for this one, and the prompt that I used was, and I'm going to say it verbatim because I'm going to let you know the response that I actually received. The prompt that I used was statistics on percentage of designer watch brand owners that are people of color. And then I said specifically African American, right? The response that I received, and I'm reading it verbatim, was this: specific statistics on the percentage of designer watch brand owners who are African American are not readily available. However, broader data on ownership and representation in the design and watchmaking industries provide some context. That's what they gave me. Right. So they literally responded saying, hey, we don't even actually have data that's available. It's not quantified yet, right? So then I did find a stat like specific to design industry ownership, right? Among owner designers across various fields, it said approximately 3.4% are Black or African American. Right. Like super low. Okay. And then I'm going to just share a few of those, see if you know some of these, right? So some of the ones that I found were Banneker watches, which were inspired by Benjamin Banneker, an African-American inventor known for building America's first clock. This brand incorporates luxury woods into its designs. Okay. Another one was Benson by Marcel.
Very familiar with Benson.
You're familiar with that one? Mm-hmm. All right. Founded by Marcel Benson, this brand emphasizes the significance of time and offers versatile designs. I found like 3 more. 17th Watches, which was established by Army veteran Chris Johnson, focusing on minimalist timepieces accessible to all. And then there was Spring Break.
I'm familiar with Spring Break.
Right. Watches launched by childhood friends Kwame Molden and Maurice Davis, known for vibrant and colorful collections. And then the last one that I found was Tally and Twine Watch Company, founded by Randy Williams, aiming to produce high-quality, affordable watches with unique aesthetics. So these brands exemplify like the growing presence and influence of African-American entrepreneurs in the luxury watch market. And now we've got Tomlin Company.
Correct.
Right? So how? Can we just talk about that? How was Tomlin Company created and where did this idea come from and like from where?
Well, naturally, I always had like appreciation for watches.
Okay.
It's one of those things that, you could wear and people that understood it. As far as like creating the brand, my wife and I, we have like this ritual at the end of the year. We can make a purchase like for ourselves. No questions asked.
Okay.
You don't ask like how much it costs. Like it's like a guilt-free purchase.
Okay. Love that.
So this is at the end of 2020. I'm not sure if you're familiar. The watch companies everything was sold out, so it was a big aftermarket on it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of markup on watches. I wanted to buy a watch.
Okay.
But I just couldn't for myself, I just couldn't say like I'm gonna spend this much on markup for a watch.
Right.
And right there, like that's when the idea sparked. Like, how about I create my own watch?
Okay.
So that's when the sketching started. And then I just fell completely down the rabbit hole.
Really? So you have an opportunity to have a guilt-free purchase, and yet and still you feel guilty, and you're like, rather than do this, let me go ahead and just figure out how to make one.
I just couldn't justify it to myself.
Okay.
In the markup, and then it's like, well, like is that price steady? Like, what's going to be the resale value? And I kind of think I made the good decision because after 2020 to 21,
Yeah.
everything plummeted. So
Absolutely.
spent the crazy markup on a watch. You stuck with it.
You
So,
stuck with it.
yeah.
Because, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Goodness, if I could speak today, that'd be great. But correct me if I'm wrong. Watches are one of those purchases that, like, they can hold value if you buy, like, different ones, right?
Absolutely.
They're not just your typical aesthetic. Like, they actually can be an
Yeah, if you buy
asset.
the right watch, it can become an asset.
Right?
Correct.
All right, and so your goal is to kind of build something of longevity.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. So I know exactly now where the idea came from. How was that first like sketch? Like where did you kind of go down? How did you gain some like inspiration? Like what was the process in creating that whole thing?
First, like when I first started sketching, like,
Mhm.
like I don't have a horology background or anything.
Correct.
It's just like out of pure passion.
Mhm.
So I like sketched something up and asked some of my friends, like, what do you think about this?
Okay.
Some people they didn't understand it, they didn't get it, but the people that understood like craftsmanship, like legacy and stuff like that,
Which we're gonna talk
and
about.
heritage, they kind of like, you know what, this looks good. So it was like kind of surprising, like coming from sketch to actual physical product. And one of my friends, I'll never forget, my friend Wayne, the cloning project, he picked it up and he said, this like it don't just look good. It feel like something that's just meant to be here. It
Ooh.
like has purpose. So like I kind of held on to that,
Okay.
and I kind of knew I was in the right direction.
So when you got that like that positive reinforcement and the response that you got, you were like, "Oh, he gets it,
He
gets
gets
it."
it.
And not only does he get it, but he sees the vision on where, oh, okay. And that's what you held on to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going a little off script, but you say something important, especially with what I was saying. Um, like you said, those that got it is what you were like. And then the other ones don't. How were you able to kind of like push through and figure out what it was that you were trying to do, and staying true to that in the midst of those naysayers, in the midst of like what was going on? And I say that just because like I was just vulnerable about my own little self-doubt. And then you literally just finished saying one friend, like he got it and he saw it and you held true to that. So how you kind of like sift through exactly.
Because I think my why felt more bigger than the product itself. So like that is what kind of got me through sometimes when I'm like, you know what, like I'm not sure if I'm gonna go through with it.
Right.
It just felt right to do.
Okay.
And I just kept going, like kept my head down and just kept going.
All right. And you hit a question. You said your why felt bigger. So do you mind kind of sharing what is that? Like what is your why when it comes to this brand in particular and why you got it started?
I mean, by carrying my last name first and foremost, that's like very important to me.
Yeah.
And in the process, like when I first started, we only had 2 kids. Now we have 4.
Yes, you
And
do.
I got my first son. So that kind of was like motivation. Like, you know what? I want something that I want him to be able to understand and see like what happens when you build things brick by brick, piece at a time, and put intention in the detail and the quality.
Yeah.
Put out.
I love that. And now you're like, and I want my name to outlive you, like yourself. Like this is legacy building here.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna go into this whole rabbit hole, and we're gonna continue to talk about this in particular, like the building up of this exact thing. So where does Tomlin and Company fall in the vision of the family legacy? Because you guys already have also PS Natural now. And like I said, I remember you saying that you guys were going to be a household name.
Correct.
So where does it fall into that legacy?
Very personal.
Okay.
Very personal. As I said, like my name is on here. So that's what creates some of the like make it real personal.
Yeah.
And I think is bridging the connection. Like my biological father, he passed away when I was 8 years old.
So sorry.
So I think this kind of built the connection from me to my son when he have children, like something that just stay connected, something physical, something that can be passed down.
Yeah. And you literally, and again, there's something about watches, like you more than likely can get it, but like, you know how people are always talking about heirlooms and things that like are passed down from generation to generation. Like, I don't necessarily come from a family that has a lot of heirlooms that we can really hold on to that have held value for over the years. Like I will say, and me and my mother, we talk about this all the time, you know, every generation should be looking to go one step further than the previous one, right? So like they created stability for my family. Like what we have is like both of my parents held on to positions in, state government for 30 plus years. They've got a pension, they're retired now. Like that's what they're passing on to my sister and I. And I've always said, my goal is not to then just remain there.
Right.
Like you went from survival to stability. My goal is now to take the stability that you created,
build on top of that stable foundation.
100%, and now move that further.
Right.
But now what you're doing for your family is you're going directly from not just financial freedom and things of that nature, but you're creating a legacy that now, like, you're creating an opportunity for an heirloom. You're creating for individuals that look more like us to start having something that they can literally pass down from this one individual to their next,
right.
and from that one to the next, and hopefully continue to pass down these watches
right.
and maintain them. And let's look into that asset building in a way that's different. Like, do you recognize, and have you taken a moment to take inventory and understand like what that change could really be for people?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Because even as, obviously the business, I plan to pass it to my child.
100%.
We pass it down, they pass it down. But I also like these pieces, I want the consumer to feel pride in buying it and also feel pride in passing it on to the next generation.
And that's what you're really trying to create here. Like, it's something that it's not just the business that you created for your family,
right.
for legacy, but like an opportunity for legacy building on the watch itself for other individuals.
Got it.
Like, that's amazing. So I got to ask, when you first brought it up, I got to ask what Donna thought. Like, what was her first initial response to the idea?
It was actually good.
Yeah.
She said like, okay, you again not sticking to the script because you don't supposed to
Right.
have any guilt in what you buying.
Right.
She understood it.
Okay.
Like, she's always in my corner. She gets it.
Okay.
Like, so it was no problems there at all.
At all. So, and please, this idea, so PS is Natural was founded in 2020. If I'm understanding you, you were supposed to make a purchase by the end of that year.
Right.
And that's when this idea started. So you literally, in the midst of starting,
being brand new in the business,
is when you then kept going with this watch idea too.
Correct. So it was like, it was kind of like something that stayed in my notes, like taking copious notes, just jotting things down, ideas down.
Yeah.
And then ChatGPT came after.
Talk about it.
So that kind of helped me, that like broadened things so much as far as like doing my research building. Of course, everything's not correct that it gives you.
Right.
But it kind of give me like, okay, where to start from here.
Right.
So that was helpful as well.
In that regard, are you at all surprised remember how I said that literally I got a response where it was like, it couldn't even like quantify. Like, are you surprised in 2025, the fact that like there's not that many?
Surprised. I wouldn't say so surprised, but kind of like fell away because I know the influence that the culture brings in certain fields.
Exactly.
And like how we make everybody else brand popular.
Talk about it. That's exactly it.
So like when you mentioned Benson by Marcel.
Yeah.
That was one of the first companies that I seen when I started digging in research. So I'm like, okay, I see somebody that I kind of can identify with, and I kind of like kept going from there.
Okay, and you said, so there were a few that I said that you were familiar with, and admittedly, while I knew some of them, they're still not as quote unquote mainstream, in my opinion. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
Why do you think that is?
I don't think it's by accident. I think it's more so by design. I think, we tend to dominate whatever field we get in.
Yeah.
Too, so I think it's like kind of purposely done.
To keep that, because if you were to dominate, that takes away from and I won't even name names because we're not going to give others, but like the main brands and like.
That we all grew to love.
Yeah. And we've continued to kind of push through and always like, those are the things that even our culture look to as like, oh, you've made it when you have certain brands on that are nowhere near what those individuals wouldn't even want people around.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
I understand 100%.
You're picking up what I'm putting down. Like
exactly. And that's why like even like when people buy it, like a lot of like all my friends, they own one, of course. And they say like this thing feel like a trophy.
Oh, I love that.
Trophy, so.
And that's what you're trying to create in there. I love that. I just thought I'd ask because my thing is in looking into that, I'm like, it. They're gorgeous, by the way.
Mm.
I will be talking to because I am going to try and see about getting one for my significant other, like
Okay.
throwing that out there. But I just find it interesting how little information was out and available, and how very minimal brands there are. So you're creating a whole new lane, and I hope you see that that's what you're doing here.
I'm trying.
Look, you're not trying, you're doing. So the mission of it, right? I'm gonna go back to PSS Natural, but the idea of like products you can trust for the entire family, right? And now we've got this designer brand. Like, how are you? Has your mind always been, I guess, is the question, thinking of all the difference? Like, how many notes do you have on all the different brands? Like, what is that like?
Oh man.
Okay. Uh-huh.
My notes in my phone is crazy.
Okay.
With ideas and brands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I try to lock in on a few things and just kind of go
Okay.
what I lock in on.
All right. All right. So now let's discuss the importance of the branding and the vision of Tomlin and Company itself. Like, I said what the vision, where the mission is, right? But like, where's the importance of that mission and vision? And where do you see it kind of going forward?
Moving forward, like, being that we started in watches,
Yeah.
I don't want Tomlin Co to only be watches.
That was gonna be my question. Okay.
I kind of want to get into like leather goods, personal accessories,
Okay.
built with the same craftsmanship,
Uh-huh.
timeless design,
Okay.
things that you could pass on.
Okay.
Ideally, like when you come into Tomlin Co, I want you to like, if we have Father's Day coming up, I
Yeah.
want you to be able to go to Tomlin Co and be able to get somebody something, get a mail like a gift,
Uh-huh.
no matter what the occasion is.
Okay. So you're really building something that is gonna be like of high design, and you're looking at quality. So leather and like real
Quality.
okay. And continuing to so nothing that's just a quick, just aesthetic.
Not just slapping my name on anything.
Oh, talk
Like,
on that,
I'm
right?
more so like focused on the craftsmanship behind it.
The craftsmanship behind it. Okay. I love that. Let me see here. I have so many questions about this, like the why the watches, the thought behind it. Like you're just forging through the why. So in thinking of the why did you start with a watch versus I know that because of the purchase was a no and you felt bad about it, but like of all the things that you could have done to build it, like is there a reason in particular that you were like, no, I'm going to focus on this before I go into the leather, like other areas that you're talking about or the other things?
Because I think watches is one of those accessories that men tend to wear daily.
Okay.
So it's one of them things that is not just for style.
Right.
Like everybody I know with watches, there's something personal behind it.
Okay.
It could be, oh, my wife gave this to me like as an engagement present after we got engaged, or my father passed this down. There's always something personal to it. So I think that automatically build the connection.
Okay. And in that same regard, do you ever worry, because with the days of like digital now and like all of those different things, like did that ever come to mind on like how that could maybe affect it?
No,
Or
absolutely. Absolutely. I have a cousin, anytime I come up with an idea, he kind of focus on like, why wouldn't it work? Not in a malicious way, but more so.
yeah, like that devil's advocate kind of
Right.
thing. Right.
That was one of the things he said, like, most people wear Apple Watches now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, yeah, but I want the people to understand it, they understand it, and it should be here for
Absolutely.
them.
And so you're looking at, because you're right, but in that same vein, and now that I'm thinking, like there are days like I'm literally wearing an Apple Watch.
If you gotta fix that.
No, I know. I'm on it, and we're going to change that out real quick and in a hurry. But in that same regard, I have, if I'm going to like a more high-end event,
Right.
or if I'm going, to something that's more like black tie, give or take, I've done two things, if I'm very, very honest, because they now have like the different bands to make this like spruced up a little bit. But I've also taken it off and put on a watch or something that is a higher end to elevate said look.
Right.
So I don't think you're wrong in the thinking of like that high end experience, and like those who get it, like you do tend to go away from the digital and wear something that's a little bit more, it's exactly what's in it, timeless, to elevate looks. So that's what you're hoping for. Like this is going to be the black tie What?
Anytime.
You talk about it
I
anytime.
want,
Okay.
rather you going to work, something formal,
Right.
tie event, more casual. I want to create something for all occasions.
Okay. So you're like, but you've already thought on that digital aspect, but you're like, I want to build something that's going to work for all occasions.
Correct.
And you're good with that. Okay. So now in that same vein, let's discuss the word legacy. And like, you've already mentioned it in every single aspect of it, but like, I'll start with, why is legacy in particular important to you?
Legacy is very important to me because it's not just like what you do while you here, is like while you going, like when you stop going, what's going to carry you on. You know, and I think that's very important. Like life expectancy of human isn't that long.
Fair.
So
Fair.
I want to make my impact last a little longer than my physical being.
Okay. Okay. And when you say that, what does legacy to you look like going forward?
Let me see. It's not just like what you've received, like
Correct.
monetary value that you've received.
Right.
It's more about like the impact that you leave. So
Absolutely. And in that same vein, what do you hope that impact is when it comes to, because again, not just Tomlin Co, but like
just personal.
Yeah.
That I'm doing something that kind of put my future, the heirs of me, like at a better place.
Amen.
Than myself.
Absolutely. You now have, that I'm aware of, at least 2 lines.
Right.
And they're thriving businesses that your children can already like become a part of. I saw a video somewhere, and I want your thoughts on this. This is kind of going off, but it's in that same vein of everything else. Of course, it was like an Instagram, like, those rabbit hole scrolls. But the gentleman was saying that, when we think legacy, like a lot of people think about the things that we do right now, and then I'm just going to give X on. He was like, you also have to think about the paperwork. You have to think about the like you want to create something that's, and the way of setting things up that go far past just the next generation. Have you thought about just getting to understand your mindset? I can already tell, like, you're thinking about a lot. When you guys were talking to me literally last December, this was already being created without speaking. Already almost finished prior to. And so I can tell just based off of the conversations that we've had already, that you're thinking 30 steps. Like, have you considered like what that looks like, and like the ability to create something that goes like several generations into the Tomlin name?
Absolutely.
And how do you feel? Let's talk to our community. Like, how important is that, and how have you learned to like think in that manner, and what steps did you take to get there? Because again, that goes into this and everything else. Like, you're thinking a way that most individuals in our age bracket and in our community have not. So where does that come from? How have you kind of done that? Right. And then and then take it.
I mean, I think it really came from I think my parents, they kind of set a foundation.
Amen.
For us to thrive and do what we need to do. We come from very humble beginnings. But my parents, they made sure that they instilled education in us. Me going to college, I probably was the first male in my family to go to college.
Wow.
So it was a lot of pressure there. So taking that and knowing where we came from and not wanting to end up back there in the same spot, that kind of was like motivation.
Okay. And then were they already talking about it, or how did you start to think about, like we were saying, the paperwork and the moving things further? Like, where did that come from? Was that just rabbit holes, or how did you like learn
like
to think?
A hybrid of both.
Okay.
My parents they probably didn't talk about it more directly, but inadvertently, I think they kind of understood. They probably didn't have the verbiage for it, but they kind of knew that they wanted something different for us than they had. Right. They kind of instilled that like we should do something different than we had for our children. As far as the paperwork, I think a lot of stuff is a lot more accessible now.
Amen.
So it's easy to fall down the rabbit hole, but it's like you have to decipher what's right information, what's wrong information.
That part.
Try not to fall into information overload as well.
Also fair.
It's just like doing your research.
Right. I love that. I just thought I'd ask because I can tell that you're that kind of individual and you're thinking on it. So now with doing the research, let's talk about that creative process in the designs that you came up with? I know you said you sketched it, but like, let's get into the weeds. Like, how many different sketches? What was that design process like? Like, let's talk about the actual watch itself and the design that you've created.
Okay, so as far as the design went, it's some inspiration from some watches that
Mhm.
I absolutely like.
Absolutely. Think smarter, not harder.
I used
Right.
some of them inspirations. I went with a Japanese movement because I wanted to take advantage of the full calendar,
Okay.
moon phase complication.
Okay.
That kind of like knowing that I wanted that movement, that
Mhm.
kind of influenced like what the dial looked like. So like
Okay.
with the different research I went with, I had to say like, okay, I want like a brush metal.
Okay.
So I had to study like how the sun hit the metal, how the dial reflect off the sun using the sunburst dial.
You better
So
go because you talking a whole nother language for me over here. Okay, keep going though.
no, so it was like more aesthetically like what I like,
Yeah.
some of the things I like.
Mhm.
I had to do without some of the things I like
Okay.
to like come with like a cohesive project.
No, yeah, but keep going down it. So first off, when you say Japanese
Myota.
Myota, like what is that for the like the average individual
Also.
that has no idea? Like,
Okay.
I'm break it down. I'm loving this. Like you really thought into it.
Right. So the Japanese Myota is a movement.
Okay.
Myota is a movement house.
Yeah.
They make the movements for like Citizen Watch and a
Mhm.
few other brands. So and which is the ultimate goal of mine,
Okay.
my own in-house movement.
Yeah. Amen.
So right now it's easy to be serviced because a lot of watch shops they're familiar with that movement.
Okay. Okay.
Has some influence on me picking it as well.
Okay. And then the other design pieces that you did, I go through all of them again. You were on, I didn't want to take you off that road.
So
So yeah.
so the case I used the 316L stainless steel,
Amen.
which is important because it stopped it from so it won't corrode or
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
The glass I used the sapphire crystal glass, which makes it scratch resistant.
You better go, What? Okay. So you literally thought down to the nuts and bolts
Literally, yeah,
what you were looking to craft.
right.
Who helped you in this? Because you're saying stuff that I have no idea about. Like, how? Who helped you in this?
Just research really like.
But this is real research here. Like, you
I
went.
mean, it didn't happen over time because, as you know, we do have the other business.
Yeah.
We had children, so it was more so like those late nights. Down the street, roll over and go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just up looking through my phone, like,
Right.
okay, why should I use this instead of
Versus
that?
that. Right.
Right, and it kind of fell down that rabbit hole.
Speak on that, though, because see, that's the thing. Most people, they see the final design.
Oh yeah,
Can you talk on like how many sketches, how long the nights, the trial and errors, like that whole creative process, like what did that genuinely look like for the average person? Because all we see are 4 amazing, beautiful watches
Right.
here at the end. But like,
As far as sketches, I think I had about 6 study sketches
okay.
like that. I was like, you know what, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I moved on to sourcing the manufacturer, they broke it down to me. It's kind of heartbreaking. Like, okay, you can't with this. If you want to use this dial, you cannot use this. Like they kind of like broke it down to me,
Right.
gave me the why. But I didn't use that information to let it. I didn't let it stop me from continue to build.
Right.
Like I took it.
That
You know,
constructive criticism's
took it back to
needed.
the drawing
Right.
board. Okay, so what must I use like
Mm-hmm.
this movement? Because I want this movement. So like,
Right.
what can I change? And they gave some suggestions as well.
Okay. And they help kind of like then influence all of that.
Right.
So during that arena then, because you're giving gold right now, there were certain non-negotiables,
Yeah.
is what it sounded like. So what were like your non-negotiable design like ideas versus things that you were like, I can shift this for that? Like what were some of those non-negotiables that you were like, I'm not willing to change?
The moon phase dial was one of the negotiables.
Okay.
Like
Non-negotiables. Okay.
I needed that on there. Early designs had the actual logo
Mm-hmm.
on the dial of the watch.
Okay.
I went without that because it looked kind of crowded to me personally, because I wanted to have a full calendar function.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, something has to go.
Right.
So I sacrificed having the logo on the front of the watch, but it still has the name on the front of the watch, but it's logo on the crown,
Okay.
case back, things of that nature.
Got it. Okay, so you found ways to still get what you wanted, but you sacrificed what was needed. But it sounds like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, what you did not sacrifice was the true functionality of the actual watch.
Correct.
Like you were really big on movement, on what was to be there, like for the actual customer
For the
experience.
full customer experience.
Okay.
I wanted this watch to be like an everyday watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people, especially people just starting
Yeah.
to like the watch world and watch collecting,
Yeah.
I wanted them to have a piece that they can use for all functions if they need to.
I love that. So you really thought you were like elegant enough that you can lift it up,
Mm-hmm.
but practical enough that for everyday
For
use.
everyday use, correct.
You better go. Shakeem, you on to something. Like legitimately. So then in that same vein, I know we talked about what's next, like you're looking at leather and things of that nature, but like what's next for this, like your actual collection? Like you've had a hard launch and things like what are we doing with Tomlin Co now?
Right now I'm working on other colorways and
Okay.
more design, like different designs and stuff.
And getting things going.
Yep.
Okay. I love this. So now I always ask, is there anything else for the watch in particular that I've missed before we go on to like
I think you actually hit everything.
we hit it all?
I think so.
All the things that you've got going on. Okay. So now I always ask like advice because that's the idea, right? The idea of the platform is finding someone, taking the strides, taking the risk, right? And now not only are you like taking the risk, but you've got the rewards. You've got already a successful like hairline and everything else, and you've now launched this next one, and you've got like, and you already have the ideas of what's next on all ventures. I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys already have what's coming next for all of those. So in that same vein, what advice would you give an entrepreneur who has the ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're uncertain on how to build a product line? Because you now have at minimum, well, I'm not even gonna say two because you've got several products within PS is Natural, but you've got several successful product lines at this point. What advice would you give that individual?
Define your why early on.
Mm.
I think that's very important because once you define your why and making sure that's bigger than the product that you come up with, that's going to carry you on, you know, through them, like you said, like them sleepless nights.
Mhm.
That's going to like give you the motivation to keep going.
Absolutely. And you said it right there. The why has to be bigger than the product itself.
Right. Like I always say, like whatever you building is just like affecting you.
Right.
It's not big enough. We like let's dream bigger.
You better go. All right. And then what advice would you give younger you?
Advice I give younger me, anything that you start building,
Mm-hmm.
like make it like understand that it's important to finish.
Okay.
You know, don't just start building because I always have like thousands of ideas.
Clearly.
And I'm talking about in places where I see other people take off. Like, damn, I thought of it. Like after we done, I'm gonna tell you some of the ideas that I had that
Okay.
take off. But just understanding that it's important to finish and that you are able to do it.
Right.
Just keep going.
And just keep going.
Go through with it.
So I love that. And you say something that I feel like we all need to hear. It's something simplistic, but not, but it's like that idea of like, just stick with it. Like it sounds easy, but
it's hard.
Ain't that like one of the hardest things?
It's because we have real life going on. So like,
exactly.
You know, I can't play fairyland in my mind about some idea that's not even physical yet.
Right.
Because I have real life going on. We have bills, we have children, we have whatever we have going on.
Exactly.
So, but I always say like still prioritize it though.
Right.
Try to find a way to prioritize it.
So now I have that question too in that same regard. Like, how do you balance all of that? And where does support come in all of that? Like, what does that look like?
My village is real sturdy.
I know that's
like people, they so supportive from my parents to my siblings, my wife. Like,
I was about to say, you better give Donna a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife, she already know we're one and the same, so she has already understood that. And my friends, like I have a real close with friends that you know, I consult, like we talk about different things.
That village is real.
Mm-hmm.
I love that because let me tell you, when you have a strong village and a strong network, sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
And I'm speaking for me right now, but I know you must think, but for me, when I think of like my village, like it goes down to like the hard truths that I've had to like endure and listen to the showing up when I can't anymore, to bringing food sometimes when needed. Like a village,
Goes a long way.
woo. And I feel like we're getting away from that. I think that we've become a very individualistic society, in my opinion. But like you're basically saying like, no, timeless pieces that go past just the today's kind of like trend. You're talking legacy that goes further, and you're discussing a village that is like something that was passed on, like something that we really leaned on in the past, got lost somewhere, but you're like, no, I got that today, so like keeps me going forward. Like that's amazing. So where else are we going to see you? What else do we got going on? Like, talk to me. Like, what's Tomlin Co? All the things, anything I missed, like, before I go ahead and give my takeaways, because my guy, you in itself are a takeaway. Like, you're my first, like, return guest with another great product.
Thank
Like,
you.
what?
No, it's been a pleasure sitting with you as well.
Yeah. You doing something, though. I need you to take that. Have you taken that moment yet?
I try, but I'm more so like I don't like the attention.
I know.
I try to like play the back seat.
Right.
Like I'm starting to appreciate it though. I'm gonna be
You
honest.
need to. Because you're doing things. Like, PS is not, again, this is all about Tomlin Co, but PS is natural. Like, y'all brought my curls back to life. Your products are like sold out. Like,
Right.
the love is real. And you created that. You and your wife created that.
Right.
And now you've created, like, take that in, Shakeem. Like, you've created another timeless piece. Like, what does that mean to you?
This just feels good.
Okay.
This feels good to have something, like I said, like an idea that I had, the actual turn into a physical product,
Right.
and to seeing people that I don't even know purchase it and like making that connection when they pick up the item,
Yeah.
look at it and feel it. Like this past weekend, I just did my first watch event.
I love that.
So like this was my first time, like, I could see a strange name come across my screen that ordered.
Right.
But this is the first time, like, I'm thinking I'm about to face some hard truths.
Mhm.
I'm in front of a whole bunch of watch enthusiasts. Had to see people come to my booth, buy my watches,
Yes.
get a feel for it, appreciate it.
I was gonna
Like
say.
complete strangers, it felt real good.
It felt good.
Yep.
And so for these watch enthusiasts, they said, no, you got.
Yeah, they get it, they understand it.
Yeah.
They appreciate the design,
I love that.
functionality of it.
Oh, I love that for you. You deserve it. You deserve all your flowers. That's why I was like, have you taken that moment yet? Because you need to just kind of like bask in the beauty that is like what you're creating here.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. Like you need to take that in. So let's think on it too. Like with Father's Day coming up, and please correct me if I'm wrong, like would this not be an amazing gift to give for Father's Day? Like,
I believe it's the perfect Father's Day gift. And right now we actually running a sale.
you better go talk about the sale.
$350 across the whole line. Our price range typically range between $350 to $395, but from now until Father's Day, everything is $350 across the line and free shipping.
And free shipping.
No code needed.
No
Just
code.
go ahead and make your purchase, and I'm sending them out gift ready, so you could just open the package and you could present it right as a gift.
I love that. I love that. So real quick, tell them the website and we'll be good to go on that one too.
The website is tomlinandcompany.com, TomlinCompany.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at Tomlin Co.
There it is. See? So guys, this is the perfect Father's Day gift. So if you haven't thought about what you needed, why not support a new legacy builder, a new brand that's coming out, and find opportunities to create a timeless piece here with quiet excellence. And let's support locally. Let's support an individual that's really building legacies out here. So yeah, we're going to keep things going in that. I love this for you. Like Father's Day is coming up. Y'all know the gift to get. All right. So I always do my key takeaways. I'm trying to think of them. You've dropped gems here without even like trying. You are a silent, like, hitter. Like, you're hitting them. All right. So here we go. So for key takeaways today, he's hit you guys with a lot, but my first one is going to be learn how to sift through the things that are said to you, because you're not always going to please everyone. You're going to get some people that question what you've got going on, but you have to learn how to sift through it and hear past the noise. Take out the critique that are good, right? But let go of the noise as long as you know that you've got something going on, which leads to my second takeaway, which is what he said. Your why has to be bigger than just the product itself. So if you know that your why is greater and it's bigger than just whatever it is that you're looking to do, that is the reason why you are able to get past those naysayers and the people that are just trying to put things down because they can't in their mind see the vision that you see. And that's okay, because at times your vision is yours and yours alone, and it's not for everyone to understand. But the ones that do will, and they will push you forward. My next key takeaway is to get yourself a village, right? Like a true village, though. Individuals that, whether it's parents, significant others, I mean, your kids can be your village too, and you are their village. Friends, families, but the ones that are literally going to show up and show out, they are going to be the ones that find all of the things that could go wrong with the product, so that you're not only thinking of the positives, but all the things that are needed within it. They're going to be the ones that walk through with you on design making, on things you've got going on hearing you out. They're going to be the ones that are going to pick up where you maybe at times have to falter because they know that you're working on something else, and they're going to show up for you in that. They're going to be the ones that surround you in love when you've had a few hits and you've had a few no's that you weren't looking to get, and they're going to lift you up in those moments. And they're going to be the ones to show up and say that you have a timeless piece when everything is said and done. And my last key takeaway is to build legacy. And just like Shakeem said, when it comes to legacy, what he's trying to build here is not only just something for him and his family, and he's done it with several different products, but it's creating something that outlives him. Having something with his name on it that is going to, and we're speaking into existence now, outlive the existence of and everything else, and that it's going to become an heirloom for others in the future, and where they can say with pride, this watch here, right, was made by Shakeem Tomlin, born from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There's going to be someone explaining your story.
Oh, wow.
Right? And saying that. and letting it go and moving it forward. So building that legacy. But, when you have something like that, my last key takeaway is hold on to your dreams. Dream bigger and greater than just what is right now. And sky's the limit. So yeah, thank you so much for coming, Shakeem.
Thank you for having me, Lissette.
You're a man of few words, but a vision of many. So, and I love that about you. I love that, we got an opportunity to just shine a light on you alone.
I appreciate the opportunity.
100%. And I'm serious. After we off, I'm going to look into something for, I got 2 men in particular that I'm trying to purchase something for. My dad's a watch enthusiast, so
Really?
No, he literally is. Yeah.
Man, that's great.
So he's a watch enthusiast, so we're gonna have to have some conversations here. But of course, sending light, sending love. Bye.